Hi everyone, and welcome to the Pisces September through October 2022 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So hi everyone. In today's reading, we are going to be taking a look at a challenge that Spirit is asking you to face and overcome through September and into October. That's going to help you better engage with your unique spirit, that part of ourselves that rises up and out to meet the challenges we're faced with, so that we can better unlock and realize our own unique heroic capabilities that allow us to better see our path, understand our purpose, and get closer to those feelings of emotional fulfillment that come when we see where we fit. It's like finding that hidden superhero within you where you can be of service to the greater collective experience. So, Pisces, I'm going to go ahead here and we're going to start by pulling some cards to see the energy that you're bringing into the month. We're going to be taking a look at what's going on external to you in your environment, and then what you are unlocking about yourself as you face the challenge that we'll go into further. And then we'll get advice from Spirit as to how to overcome it. Okay, so Pisces. Ooh, well, that jumped out there. So we have the Lovers card for your internal energy. Beautiful energy to have. And it's also one that this card really brings in the energy of Gemini, which is interesting because we are in a kind of a really interesting Mercury retrograde period right now. And Mercury, Gemini is a sign ruled by Mercury. So there's an element here of really kind of tapping into that mercurial energy that's coming through strongly right now, but which is almost like in a reversal phase. When we go through a Mercury retrograde, it's often where we have a chance to revisit something from the past so that we can learn a lesson and move forward. With the Lovers, especially with Mercury retrograde right now in Libra, which Libra is a sign that really forces us to take a look at how we connect with others, how we interact in partnerships. And with Mercury there's an element of even how we communicate within relationships. So for a lot of you, I think there's this review process going on about maybe how you connect to what you love, how you connect to who you love, and really stepping into that energy, that the beautiful energy that comes when we embrace that energy, when we embrace what we love and we're ready to kind of commit to it. Whether this is an individual, whether this is friends and family, whether this is a work environment. Let's see, what's going on around you through the month of September and October. So this could be really reevaluating to areas where maybe you did not follow your heart, or you maybe did not communicate around something that you loved, and getting that beautiful chance to revisit that moment, to realize just how far you've come from that point, and if you're faced with a similar circumstance, what you would change moving forward. Oh, here we go. Oh, and the Two of Cups. Wow. So this is the Two of Cups is also, as you can see, about partnership, about connecting authentically with others, that support system that's around you. So this is a month or a time period that's really going to have you looking at how you connect to others, how you communicate, how you bring yourself emotionally into these situations as well. Because Pisces, you are a water sign, and in the tarot, water really connects us with the emotional side to our experience. And you are a sign that gets that chance to really be able to harness the depth of our emotions while also being able to harness the height of what we can achieve and tap into when we really honor our emotional state. So beautiful energy. Now at the bottom, we have the Six of Wands. I love that. Success, recognition. We have the High Priestess and the Fool. Wow. Okay, so let's get into this. So with the energy here of being one of reevaluating really what you love, being in the energy of kind of understanding now how to feel that out for yourself, and then how to be able to connect that outwardly, authentically with I would say the right people And I don't like to say that they're wrong people or right people, but what I mean is that this is representative of a healthy relationship with others, where each person brings their full cup of emotions, dreams, needs that they want to have fulfilled, and they bring it equally to the table when they are together. And that's the type of experience we all want to have for ourselves, that we all deserve, that loving, supportive group of people around us, whether this again is a friend group, whether these are coworkers, whether this is your significant other. But this is a non-codependent relationship. This is one where we follow what we love, we're able to express what we love, and that's honored in the people who are able to do the same in their life and in our life back to us. Now, with the Fool, the High Priestess, and the Six of Wands, what you're unlocking about yourself this month, that as you move through the challenge that we're about to get into here, is really trusting yourself in taking leaps of faith and having an understanding that success will follow as you continue to do that. Because we have the Fool card here, and the Fool card is having took that leap of faith. Now, you may be reevaluating or revisiting a time when you did this. It could be, maybe where you moved in with someone kind of out of the blue, or where you took a new job and that took you completely out of your comfort zone, or where you moved to a new country, something along these lines. And the High Priestess came in and said, you know that it was time to do this. You tapped into your intuition. The High Priestess actually does harness your energy, Pisces, in the tarot. So there's this element of really, again, being able to understand the light and the dark aspects of our experience, and bringing those together to tap into that universal understanding that lies within all of us, that decision made deep within us from that internal knowing. And I think for some of you, there is this energy of having taken a leap, bringing you closer to that internal knowing. Maybe you took a leap and you knew at the time it wasn't right. And you're like, darn it, I shouldn't have done that. Or you took a leap and you knew it was right. But there's a beautiful energy here with the Six of Wands coming in, that there's success and recognition waiting for you. And so I think for some of you now, you're reevaluating what it feels like when you are tapped into the highest potential of your own energy, that internal knowing of this feels right or this doesn't feel right. And leaning into your own ability to take leaps of faith. Give yourself the kudo for that, but also having the success that comes with really understanding your intuition. This is really where you can kind of step up into your power, Pisces, of looking at the past at times when you did something that you felt perhaps on some level was not right. Maybe you followed your heart, and maybe you had friends around you that told you, you're moving a little fast. Maybe you should pull it back a little bit. And you're like, yeah, maybe I should. And then that individual, walked away from your life, and you followed what somebody else had told you, or somebody else's opinion, didn't follow your own internal knowing. Or this could be something where, you really wanted to follow a specific career path, and you felt it in your bones, and this opportunity came up, but somebody in your life showed up and said, you're making great money here. Is that really something you want to do? That's a big leap. And you said, okay, well, I'll pull myself back. Or the reverse, the person said, go do it, and you didn't do it. So there's an element here of finally, I think, having mastered tapping into yourself for those answers, and kind of clearing the deck to say, I know what I love. I know when my intuition tells me it's time to leap. And this time, this month, this kind of 2-month period is going to allow me to actually reap the benefits of where I've taken leaps of faith in the past, or perhaps it didn't work out. But now because I'm able to tap into my intuition, I'm able to be clear as to what I love and what I want to love. I'm going to be able to, through the connections and the support system around me, be able to kind of reap the benefits perhaps that I didn't see come in before, but which I've laid the groundwork for with having taken these leaps of faith. So let's go ahead. And, and this could be like maybe you took leaps of faith in your career, where you kind of moved around a bunch, and what you gained from that maybe it was one of those things where, you know, they didn't work out, and it kind of looks messy when you look at your own resume. But there's this moment where all of a sudden you realize, yes, but I'm also now I can easily acclimate to any type of work environment. And so now I get a chance to choose what I love to do. Through going to all these different things, I've clarified for myself what I want to feel out of a work environment. And now I'm able to be very flexible and malleable when I'm, you know, faced with a new work opportunity. And so there's something that's coming in. It's kind of like that, where maybe it looked kind of a little messy before and you didn't receive the reward you wanted at the time, but now something is kind of coming back around. It was all in preparation for this time period. So we have the world, and the world is your it's your main point of challenge. So this is the challenge. It's closing out of a major cycle in your life. The world is when we get a chance to close the door on the past cycle. We get to really honor all of the lessons we've learned. We get a chance to stop and see how far we've come. That's why the individual here is, you know, kind of in the celebratory phase. And then we get to move forward, and we get to start the next important life cycle for ourselves. But where this can become a block is when we are one of two things. We're either too afraid to close the door on the past because there's something that we are still kind of clinging to. You know, it's hard. It's hard often when we hit this point in our life, it means that we might have to change a friend group, or we might have to move locations, or we might have to reevaluate how we present ourselves in our work environment. And yes, with the Five of Wands coming in and the Eight of Swords, there's definitely an element here, I think, around that of just having to go into a new environment. Because the Five of Wands speaks to, it can be healthy competition. It can be a little chaotic, where everybody's kind of coming in with their own ideas and inspirations and passions, and everybody's trying to kind of put their 2 cents in. But it's also a chance where you get to see where your wand, it fits in to the greater collective experience and what you can learn from others as you bring yourself. You know, our wand is our eternal flame. That is our connection to our passion, our unique passions. And when we bring that out there in a healthy way, we get to have that chance for recognition. We get a chance to be seen for who we are uniquely. And with the Eight of Swords, this is at the heart of your reading. And this is the card that Spirit is asking you, the energy that Spirit is asking you to embrace to help you really move through this period of closing out one major life cycle and entering into a new one. And it's kind of an interesting one to come up, because the Eight of Swords is generally not an energy we're excited about. It's one where we can feel trapped, or we can't see a way around on a mental level how to achieve something or leave something. And what I like to see it as is it's a card of looking at the mental programming we've kind of set up for ourselves, the maze within our mind, so to speak, that we've created to kind of keep us trapped, to keep us kind of going through the same points, just to bring us right back to the start, to the I can't, I shouldn't, I don't see a way. And, you know, for any of you who have seen the TV show Westworld, and, you know, the whole concept of the map, the mind, you know, the map within the mind, so to speak, it's kind of like that. There's an element of what you keep kind of bringing yourself back to you at a specific time when you created that mental patterning for yourself. And what Spirit's asking you now to do is to break that mental patterning, to walk outside of the labyrinth you've created for yourself, close the door on it, and it's time to walk away. Whatever mental path you've been kind of continually going down, you know, I want a new job, but I can't because, and even if I tried, I shouldn't because, and I can't. So now I'm back here, but I want a new job, but I can't, you know, it's that kind of one of the things saying, no, it's time to walk away from that labyrinth and to look out into the rest of the world with fresh eyes, to say, I don't have to keep doing that. I can instead change my mental programming and really be in a place of, kind of that openness. The Fool is someone who is taking a leap off of the edge of a cliff, but looking up with full faith that he will be supported. And for you, the support system is the people around you, which is wonderful. Okay. Sometimes we don't realize that it's the people around us in our lives that are really rooting for us, that are hoping that we will take that chance, that they're hoping that we will, find that perfect someone by entering a new relationship after we've been hurt in the past, or that we will make that career move and finally follow what we've always wanted to do, follow our heart. There's an element here of the people in your life that are meant to be around you are those people who are excited. They want to give you the kudos for showing yourself, but you have to be able and willing to do that. Okay. So let's get your last two cards here. Okay, beautiful. So we have the Nine of Swords and the Hermit. I love that. Okay, so there's a really beautiful energy here of moving out of the mind and actually more into the soul. And I'll explain. So with the Nine of Swords coming in after the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Swords is saying release yourself from past programming. If you sat right now and you thought, okay, what's the one part of myself I really want to connect to from the heart space? This one, if I'm closing out a major cycle, what's the biggest change I want to see coming into the new cycle? And the first kind of I can't, or it probably won't work out, or whatever that kind of, limiting idea or thought comes in, that first one that comes in, that's the first place you need to really stop and disengage yourself from. Because after this comes the Nine of Swords. As we get further down into our own maze of negative mental programming, well, that's when we allow ourselves to then go one step deeper into the Nine of Swords, where we're just lost in the what ifs. Well, what if this happens, and what if the person hurts me again, or what if I go there and I don't like the desk I sit at, and what if the sky falls? And this is just that getting too far into the future. Creating the what ifs is, when we get to this point, it is just like this. It's like literally, what if swords fall from the sky and I get stabbed? And it's like, well, yeah, that could maybe happen, just like anything could possibly happen that we can think up in our imaginations. Maybe aliens will fall out of the sky and prevent you from moving to the other side of the world. But what it's saying here is that those are just thoughts, and we can create all the what ifs we want, but ultimately these are just ways to prevent ourselves from moving forward into the future that we, in our hearts, deep within ourselves, know we yearn for. And so what Spirit's asking you to do is, as you start to release yourself from this kind of mental patterning, programming labyrinth you've created for yourself, is to get past the Nine of Swords and into the energy of the Hermit, which is where you get to go within. You get to sit, you get to connect with the inner part of yourself, where you realize, what is it within you? The light within you. If you notice here, he has a lantern and there's an image of a star up here. And that's because there's a realization that in the tarot, the star card specifically speaks to kind of our individual guiding North Star, that part of ourselves that we look up into the night sky and we're like, that's the hope, the great dream for ourselves. But the Hermit makes the realization that hope dream, it does not lie outside of ourselves. It lies within us, in that seed of our own passion, in that seed of who we are as a true, unique, singular being. And he finds the star within to then put in his lantern to hold out, not only as a beacon for others to see and a light to shine away by, but also to better see his own path and purpose, and using it as a guide. So this is realizing that we can't look without. We can't go down this path of the Nine of Swords, of the what ifs, because ultimately we have to go within to understand that answer. What is, if you connect to the best part of yourself, and what is it that you truly love and what you want to connect to? Well, what is always in your lantern to hold out for others to see? What is the light that you want to shine out? And what is the light that is guiding you? Is it a deep principle? For some of us, this could be where you're the person that always has a kind word for others, and your dream is to be of service where you get to maybe coach or counsel another. This could be where you have the gift of gab, and you get the chance to, really come into any situation. Maybe you're glib and you're witty, and that is part of your dream. Maybe part of your dream is to be a copywriter or to write for a television show or something along those lines. And you realize, well, that connects deeply to a part of myself that I always want to show. That's my unique talent. That is my specialty. And this can dive into all different kinds of things on all types of emotional and passionate aspects of our experience. But there's something here about having to go within first to then bring it out, because this is your final point of challenge, to really honor what makes you unique and special, and then to courageously come out of this space of sitting with it yourself and then sharing it with others. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to pull some clarifier cards here so we can dive a little deeper into this challenge. Ooh. Okay, so we have, let's see what's coming up for the world. Seven of Swords. Yeah, that's avoidance. Seven of Swords is where you are avoiding closing out a chapter. And yeah, it's hard. And the Devil. Yep. Chained to the past, chained to something that you can't let go of. And this can even be guilt sometimes, where you are holding yourself accountable for, I made a mistake. I should have trusted my intuition and I didn't. And now it's like, well, I have to, I can't let that go, or I can't make the next leap because I should have done the last thing better, or I shouldn't have done it at all. And this is saying, you've learned that lesson. That's what the world denotes. You've learned the lessons you needed to learn. That's why this cycle is closing out for you. And it's time to release. It's time to let go of the things maybe you didn't do right, the things where you didn't trust your intuition, the leaps you took that didn't work out in the way that you had anticipated, only to realize that maybe that was the whole purpose of this life cycle, was to have you practice taking that leap. It's almost like getting ready to do the high jump. And you had to keep taking that leap and kind of hitting the bar. And now all of a sudden, once you get past that mental programming of I can't because I've always hit the bar, it's saying this time you're going to have an opportunity to go out there and you're going to realize, well, all those times I didn't make it and I hit the bar has now led me to realize, where exactly do I need to put my pole? As I maybe pole vault over something. Where do I need to put it? How do I need to angle it? And what do I need to kind of work on here with this healthy competition in allowing me to be the best version of myself to get over that jump, that hurdle, that obstacle? But there is something here about keeping yourself chained to the decisions of the past out of probably, again, a little bit of guilt or sadness, or just, that's what I'm getting, like sitting here and saying it didn't work out, or I feel bad that I should have done something sooner, or I didn't do something to the extent that I wanted, or whatever it is. And it's just saying, let it go. So for the Five of Wands, we have the King of Wands. I love that. And the Ace of Coins. Ooh. So for some of you, this could be where you go out with your passion and realize that you're actually a lot more adept than you had expected. With the King of Wands coming in, this is that CEO energy. It's someone who's mastered working with their passions. They know what they love, and they bring that into every situation that they find themselves in. But there's this other aspect too, that perhaps when you start to go out again showing this part of yourself and kind of testing it out there, that you might meet a King of Wands character, because there's the Ace of Coins here, which is a new opportunity, a tangible opportunity. Something about either you will meet someone who will, this could be a business owner. It could be a really fiery, passionate individual. This could, this harnesses the energy of Leo. But therein lies the opportunity. Something physical for you that is the seed of something to grow in the future. And this could be that literally you start to bring yourself into the world of kind of networking again to talk about your skill set or the new business you want to start, and suddenly meet somebody who's like, I want to bring you onto my team, or I already have the business set up. Do you want to come help me build it from, the ground up kind of thing? Or this could be where literally you go out into the dating world and you meet somebody who is this fiery, passionate individual who then brings out that fiery, passionate element of yourself. And there is this beautiful opportunity there for something more. Okay. But for some of you, this might actually be the opportunity as well for you to see that you might be the king. You might be the big fish in the small pond, so to speak. This might be where you kind of brush off maybe a past gift or work experience or something like that, and you take it out there and you realize, wow, I'm a lot more advanced in this area than I thought. And that's where I realize is the opportunity for myself. I'm ready to kind of make this happen. That's where you get the courage, the confidence. Okay, yeah, 8 of Swords with Death in reverse, which is oh, you know what? It's not Death in, well, hold on. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking to see if I picked the deck up upside down, and I think I did. So it's not Death in reverse. It's that I picked up the deck upside down. Okay, so my apologies. There we go. All right. So we have the Death card. Yeah. Ultimate release. It's almost like you have to let the mind die away to get rid of that programming. It's almost like I'm getting this seeing for myself, turning off that computer, unplugging. It's time for that program to be left alone. Now this is interesting. I turn it over and the Ace of Cups is upside down. So for some of you, what you're walking away from is a programming that you're not worthy of love, that you're not worthy of having others meet your needs, and that you are not worthy of having your needs seen, met, and honored by others. And you're letting that go. That's part of this mental programming, is that for a lot of you, I think there was something that happened in the past, something that didn't quite work out, that kind of brought you to a place where you're like, I'm not worthy of having people who support me. I'm not worthy of having coworkers that, support what I do in my job. I'm not worthy of having parental figures in my life love me for who I am uniquely. There's something here that happened in the past that created the kind of blueprint for this mental programming, the software design, so to speak, that kept you in this place of, I'm not worthy of love. Or when I try to give my love to another and I try to pour from my cup, it is drained and it doesn't refill. And that is just a, perspective. Our cups are always full. Our cups are always full of our hopes, dreams, wants, needs. And sometimes we can feel depleted, but the beauty of it is that we can always connect back to who we are uniquely, the source energy, and realize that no, that cup is always full. We can always reconnect on an emotional level to our experience and to unconditional love. That's really what this Ace of Cups is. So for many of you, this is releasing, letting go of that mental programming of that mindset to prepare you to get ready to take this next leap that you're prepared for. Okay, 9 of Swords. Let's see what's going on with the 9 of Swords. What does Pisces need to know about the Nine of Swords? Ten of Wands. Yeah, letting down a burden physically, or this is like where you're trying to keep everything going. And I think for some of you, there's that fear here of, if I close the door on the past and I take this leap into the future, into what I want for myself, into doing what I love, honoring what I love, that the fear in the future is that you're going to have to carry that whole weight yourself. It's like, well, it's like really having that great idea to follow a dream. And, a dream, let's say, to have your own business, but you realize, like, I have to do it all alone. I'm going to have to be the one that all the responsibility falls on my shoulders. Or what if I jump into a new relationship and suddenly I'm saddled with bearing the burden of keeping the relationship going? And this is saying to release that. This is just fears, projections into the future. And the Ten of Wands speaks to bringing that burden to its final resting place and dropping it. Because if you notice, that individual can't carry this matrix of awkwardly set up wands. Eventually, they're going to just fall apart. And I like how the Emperor's coming in here. The Emperor's coming in to say it's time to see it from a new perspective. If you notice, it's an individual here holding up a box that probably at one point he had to kind of force himself to fit within. And now he's picking it up and he's looking at it and realizing, I don't have to fit in this tiny box. I can pick it up and throw it off if I want. I can expand it. I can stretch it to fit my needs. And so there's an element here of really stepping into your own power as the emperor to your own empire, which we all are. And to see, I think, again, the struggle from a new perspective of how much more powerful you are at this point in your life, and just to see kind of where you felt that you were kind of stuck, where you were penned in, where you were trying to force yourself to fit inside a box, realizing it can be done another way. And it doesn't have to be done in the way where I have to carry the entire burden. Okay. Yep. Okay, double confirmation. So we have the World coming up again as your final point of challenge. So yeah, it's really closing out that cycle where you didn't honor the star, the dream, the unconditional love that you have for who you are uniquely. And it's time to close out that cycle and to release the people who didn't support you, to release the people who, Five of Swords. This is where we're trying to kind of fight in the mental space with ourselves. This is where we want to win at all costs, where we sit there and say, yeah, but no. And I don't care who I have to argue with, who tells me I should let it go and move on and all of that. I'm going to keep coming up with excuses. I'm going to keep coming up with saying no, but because. And Spirit's asking you to say, release that. Honor the magic within yourself. There's a new cycle opening up where you get to really step into the energy of love. Step up into the energy of partnership, supportive partnership. And this is in all aspects of your life. Again, this doesn't have to just specifically mean romantic partnership. This is successful supportive partnerships in a work environment. This is successful partnerships with friends, successful partnerships with even family that maybe at one point you had been disconnected from. But there's an element here of it's a very supportive environment as long as you're willing to find the magic within yourself and really release that programming that said that you weren't worthy of love, that you weren't worthy of showing yourself as the unique individual that you are, bringing your passions and experience into the playing field. Okay, so now I'm going to pull 3 additional cards down here for the concepts of curiosity, courage, and contemplation. We're going to get additional advice from Spirit. So with this first card here for curiosity, this is where Spirit would like you to open yourself up through the energy of curiosity into that kind of waiting, anticipatory energy that is optimistic and is expecting the miracle that's looking to come in for you. So this is giving Spirit a doorway to be able to present you with some help, to be able to allow you to really trust your intuition, get ready to make this new leap, and to trust that the leap that you've recently made was the right one, and to really understand that it's time to honor yourself. It's time to honor that others want to love you, that you are worth loving, and that truly right here, it's you. There's a guiding part of yourself that is ready to be brought out. And that's what's going to kind of open the door and light the way to the new cycle that's starting. Now, I love that we have appreciation, because this card, I think this card also came up for, might have been Scorpio too, but there's an element here with this card that comes out that I love, that it's an individual who's surrounded by mostly, it's like kind of a scraggly bush, mostly dead, and yet there's this little tiny bit that's blooming behind her. And she's holding up one of those blooms and looking at it, and she's so proud of what she's created. It doesn't matter that she invested all this time and energy and the majority of it didn't work out. The majority of the bush didn't bloom, and that it looks almost kind of like it's half dead, but a part of it did. And that's her realizing, wow, even though it might not have bloomed in the way that I had wanted, I can appreciate that a part of it did, and I can see its beauty. You know, this is like looking back at previous relationships, romantic relationships that didn't work, and realizing even though those relationships didn't work, each relationship showed me a better part of myself, showed me a part of myself that I want to honor, and that I want to have someone else love and honor within me. That I got closer to seeing the own bloom that lies within myself. Or this is like saying that you went through maybe many different work environments that maybe weren't as supportive as you had hoped, or that pushed you to really maybe stand up for yourself, or to see who you are when things get challenging or going through times of great change. And you realize now that, yeah, maybe I didn't work my way up in one business, or I got let go from one place of work, or whatever it is. But realizing what I learned about myself is my adaptability, is my ability to understand a work environment that's not supportive to me versus what does support the beautiful bloom that's within myself. That part of myself that I know for a fact is directly linked to my magic. And I'm not going to work in a place that doesn't honor and nurture and water that part of myself. You're basically you're coming to that point of realization of what part of yourself you haven't felt that there was love coming in to help water and grow that part of yourself. And now it's time for you to really honor it. So we have Frog Spirit, clear out the clutter, number 28. I love it. So this is a perfect card to come up with this, because it really speaks to, so number 28 reduces to the number 10, which further reduces to an end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, 10 and then 1. This is saying it's time to clear out all that dead brush. Yeah, look at this is what's holding you back. This is the chains that you're tying yourself to that's not allowing you to close that door on the past. Because you're looking at all the dead bushes still and you're like, oh my gosh, but look at where all of it didn't work out. And it's time to say, no, just cut all of that back, do some gardening, some pruning, which is a perfect time to do in the fall, which is right now. And go ahead and just set up space to honor the blooms that came through, that part of yourself that was meant to bloom, that you were meant to appreciate, and start to put something in place to really honor and expand. And the more that you start to be curious and open to what this part of yourself, how Spirit wants to honor this part of yourself, and how you can start to kind of clear out the mental clutter of all of the times that didn't work out, all the blooms that you didn't have or didn't experience, to sit here and say, I'm just going to focus on the part that worked, the part of myself that I unlocked that I feel really successful about, the part of myself that intuitively I know can bring me this level of success. And if you focus on that, that's where the miracle is going to come into for you. That's where Spirit's going to kind of give you, I think, that golden opportunity right here of, let's take this out. let's give those blooms some air. Let's give them a little bit more fertilizer and some fresh soil and some loving water, loving attention. And let's get this going. Okay. So now I'm going to pull a card here for the concept of courage. And this card is really what Spirit would like you to keep in mind as you have the courage to take action, as you have the courage to close that door on the past. You get to remove all those brambles and dead bushes, and you get to start fresh with a new garden with just that pretty bloom. When you think about it too, when we start new cycles, it usually brings in other people. Wow, it's a lot of cards. I'm going to see if that card, that's the card. Okay. So there's this element of, when we think about starting a new cycle, and this can often mean, a career change, a job change, getting into a new romantic relationship, maybe even moving to a new geographic location, that there's this element of, we forget sometimes that, let's say we have done the pruning and all we have is the one beautiful blooming bush in the back and just some nicely manicured empty spaces around us. Well, when people meet us, all they're going to see is that beautiful bush blooming in the back and say, wow, that's a beautiful bush. Like, what have you been doing with that? They're not going to see all of the failed attempts before that. They're not going to see the scraggly, garden that you had to put a lot of effort and time in removing. And that's where we really can step into this surrender fear, that the fear of, well, what if they see all of the thing where it didn't work before? What if I try to get into this new work environment and I'm wanting people to honor this part of myself, this, beautiful part that I know I'm truly capable of bringing to the table. But then they see that I didn't succeed in this other place of work, and they, might hear about my struggles when I tried to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no. All they're going to see is what you present to them. The rest is in your mind. And we have to think about this from our perspective, looking at others. If you were to meet somebody just walking through the door in the place where you currently work, and you ask them, hey, who are you? And, what do you like to do? And where was the last place you worked? Well, all you're taking at face value is what they're going to tell you, is what you see as they walk through that door. Perhaps that person is very well dressed and they come in and they look like a sharpshooter. And maybe this is the first job where they've ever had to dress like that. But to you, they look like they should belong there. So there's something here around really just leaning into the new version of yourself, shining it fearlessly for others to see, and to realize that at this point, that's all others are going to see, is that part of yourself. But you have to be able to fearlessly yourself release kind of the mental scraggly bushes that are getting in the way, so that you're not sitting there kind of tripping yourself up, where you're almost like standing in front of your own blooms over here to be like, yeah, but I'm not quite ready yet. Don't look over there. Like, it might be a little ugly around the base, but I'm trying. It's just like, no, just like, here's my beautiful plant. And I'm going to step out away from it so everybody can see it. And it says, surrender fear. Let go of the fearful stories you are telling yourself. 9 of Swords, fearful stories. Stay in the moment, focus on solutions, and celebrate every baby step forward. And that is the step-by-step of moving away from that closed door of the past. Beautiful. I love it. Okay. There's no fear here. We're thinking of the Fool. There's no fear. He's fearlessly, with true faith, he's leaping off that cliff because he's trusting his intuition. He knows that this is the right path. He knows that this is his path to success. Okay. So let's see here. So for the final card, this is your final point of contemplation. And this is where Spirit would like you to reflect upon for the months of September and October, to really ground this message into your daily present experience, so you can kind of use it as like that guiding point of how far off are you from stepping into this new cycle of surrendering fear, of honoring the part of yourself that is really blooming for you, So we have two. We have the age of light. You've been training for this for lifetimes, and I like that. It's showing that this whole past cycle has prepared you for what is to come. And you're ready for it. You're ready to get out there and, step up into the world of competition. You're ready to show this part of yourself. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. I love that as well, because there's this element here with Anna, grandmother of Jesus, that there, when you think of this figure, now whether you believe in, Jesus or not, there's an element just that comes through with the concept of this individual, that she gave birth to Mary, who then gave birth to the individual who would become, as we know him, Jesus Christ. Now, when Anna gave birth to Mary, I'm sure she did not think in her mind, wow, my daughter probably is going to be the mother of a major historical and religious figure. Instead, she just thought and trusted, I'm going to raise my child to the best of my ability. I'm going to love and nurture them. I'm going to love and nurture myself, and I'm going to really trust in the divine plan. I'm going to trust that what I'm doing, and as I do it to the best of my ability, is laying the foundation for something greater than myself, that I am part of something greater than this. And it turns out that faith was indeed honored. And I think for some of you, there's that coming through, is that it's to have that faith that what you're laying the seeds for is going to be probably greater than you could possibly imagine. It might have a more lasting effect, but you've been prepared for this for quite some time. And it's time now for you to understand that and to take the leap, and to take the leap away from a past cycle that's ready to be closed out. Okay, so now I'm going to pull a final card here for the larger, overarching spiritual lesson you're learning about yourself this month. And I'm going to read the full excerpt from the book that comes with this oracle deck, so that you get an extra message that comes not from me directly, but from someone else. Okay, so we have, I love it, Divine Talents, number 39, breaking down to the number 12, which for me is the number of it's kind of the God number for me. It's the number of divinity. Further breaks down to the number 3 of creativity, of being seen, of great, kind of greeting life with the innocence of a child is how I always see it. Okay, so let's go ahead and read what comes up here. It says, you are a talented soul. Over many lifetimes, you have developed your spiritual abilities to channel higher awareness, attract healing energy, and radiate light to uplift the consciousness of those around you. Your divine talents are many and uniquely expressed through you. Your talents do not have to resemble those of another to have their own inestimable value. Do not be afraid to use them. And I love that. There's that element of surrendering fear, the element of you've been training for this for lifetimes. Well, yes, you have been. Whether or not you believe in past lives, the feeling of I've been training for this for a lifetime is you've been training for this even through the past major life cycle you've gone through. So really lean into you're ready for this. Lean into it's time to bring out a divine talent you've uncovered in this process. It says divine talents are a way in which the universe reminds us of what we are here to do. Divine talents are unlimited. They include the ability to channel spiritual guidance and healing energy, to perceive clairvoyantly and be, there's a little fly, and be psychic and empathic. Other spiritual talents are the ability to release earthbound spirits, earth healing techniques, such as working with energy grids, as well as healing ability with crystals and the many and varied technologies of light. There are other spiritual talents too. These include writing, performing, sound healing, dancing to awaken awareness, creating art, photography, or divinely inspired tools and jewelry. Cooking food that heals body and spirit is a spiritual talent, as are the abilities to bring people together, to offer comforting and inspiring words at the right time, to help others overcome fear and feel more at peace in moments of importance, and more. You could use your divine talents in your career as a healer, in your work in the corporate world, or in your stay-at-home role as a parent, helping to raise more conscious, secure, and empowered children in a world that is in desperate need of strong, spiritually grounded leaders for the future. You can use your talents to create a vocation that truly inspires you and brings your light to the world. You can use them in the line at the grocery store. The point is that you use them. This oracle comes to you with a message. You have spiritual talents, some of which have been developed in other lifetimes and will simply and suddenly spring back to life, as if from out of the blue this lifetime. Others need a little more attention, patience, and effort to be brought to life in the world. This is particularly the case for you at this time if you've also drawn or are also attracted to read the message now, the Oracle of Past Life Activation. Sometimes there is fear in sharing talents. You may have a subconscious or a very conscious past life recollection that involved shame, isolation, ridicule, fear, or even torture or death as a response to your sharing your talents for healing and helping others. Maybe you fear your spiritual talent will not allow you to meet your material needs, or that others will reject or deny your talent, even if you know it to be authentic and helpful. Or perhaps you need to acknowledge your talents yourself. Believe in yourself, in your abilities, and in your capacity to use those talents in a constructive, healing way. Keep developing your talents until your own unique expression comes to life. Don't give up in the early and possibly awkward stages, dismissing your abilities as less than those of another. Trust that there is something very real and worthwhile in you. Do not dismiss or diminish your potential. Treat yourself as an investment worthy of development. Give yourself a chance. Enough time, attention, and practice to discover what you are really capable of. The universe knows. Soon you shall too. This oracle also reminds you to do what makes you happy, to chase your sacred bliss and express yourself in the world via the unique and special abilities that the divine has bestowed upon you. When you follow what you love, which is the Lovers here, you are on your life path and you shall succeed, beloved. Beautiful. I hope this has been a wonderfully illuminating reading. I think that this is going to be a time where you really step up into that energy of love for yourself and in understanding that when we love ourselves, we have more love to give to others. And that is truly what makes our experience beautiful, unique, and elevates the collective at the same time. All right, Pisces, if you would like to book a personal reading or just learn more about me and the services I offer, you can click on the link in the description box below. And if I don't see you over there, I look forward to your next illumination reading in November. Bye, guys.